Okay, welcome to today's Mendocino College Career Hub Career Exploration Spotlight on the Mendocino National Forest On-Call Wildland Firefighting Program. Today, we are joined by Terry Nickerson, who is one of the fire chiefs, and he's going to share his experience, his educational and professional journey to where he is today, as well as some on-the-job insight. And we're going to talk about the program. So with this, I'll introduce Terry Nickerson.
Good morning, everybody. Like she said, my name is Terry Nickerson. I am the District Fire Management Officer for the Upper Lake and Covelo Ranger Districts on the Mendocino National Forest. So my area covers from the north shore of Clear Lake all the way up through Covelo into the Yollobole Wilderness to the southern tip of the Shasta National Forest and Six Rivers National Forest. It's about a 500,000 acres or so.
Wow, that's a huge territory.
Yeah. The forest is about just shy of 1 million acres, and we have 2 districts, and they're pretty much split right in half there.
Nice. So how long have you been with Mendocino National Forest?
I started on this forest in 2003. I was a fire engine operator here out of Upper Lake, and have done a few other jobs in the forest before getting to this position here.
Were the other jobs you did in the forest through Mendocino National Forest, or was it through like a different employer agency and it just gave you that passion of working in the forest?
Well, I started, when I went to Humboldt State, I started with the National Park Service actually at Redwood National Park nice. as a park ranger. So I did that for about 5 seasons, and between then and now I've worked for the Bureau of Land Management and the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service in fire positions as well before coming to the Mendocino.
Nice. Well, yeah. I'm sure they're happy to have you. What did you major in at Humboldt State?
It was natural resource interpretation. Thinking I wanted to be a park ranger. But in the Park Service, you do a little bit of everything, kind of like the Forest Service. So I kind of got my feet wet doing prescribed fire and wildfire suppression. And I really loved doing that and kind of moved into doing that.
You learned you wanted to focus more on that. So this position through Mendocino National Forest enables you to focus on the part that you really dialed in as what is of most interest to you.
Exactly. Yes.
Great. That's something that we definitely work with students on at the Career Hub. Is we do, we have some really neat career assessments that we'll do, helping identify a career field that a student could work in and be excited to go to work every day, right? Like instead of dreading going to work, they're like, oh, I get to go to work, So how great is it when your paycheck is also something that gives you personal fulfillment?
Yeah, and we've actually had employees in fire move out of fire to different career paths in the Forest Service or other land management agencies, and we've had employees in the ologists or the recreation actually come into fire. So yeah, it's really easy to go back and forth because everybody kind of helps each other out. So
yeah, and the thing that's so beautiful about it too is everybody has their own individual idea of fulfillment. So. Yes. You took some time to find, oh, this is the area that I want to be in. Other people might start in fire and realize there's a different avenue within Mendocino National Forest or Park Services. So
exactly.
It's just a really great perspective. And we're so happy you're here today to share your program and to give students some insight as far as what that looks like.
Yeah.
So we have a little bit of information about the program. I'll just glance over it and then I'll let Terry go into detail or add anything. So the Mendocino National Forest sponsors and dispatches 10 on-call organized crew wildland firefighter type 2 hand crews. The on-call crews assist wildland fire suppression efforts both locally and nationally. And the fire season typically lasts from May through November. Something that Terry and I were talking about previously was that, the fire season is dependent on the rain season. So because we were so lucky and we just got that rain, things are starting to kind of quiet down. Of course, there's always work to do as far as falling trees, but fire season does slow down around November, which is right where we're at. So that's reassuring to know that things are on track as far as that goes. A typical crew consists of 18 to 20 crew members. So Terry, is there anything that you would like to add or expand on from that?
Well, yeah, I think, this is a really good, this is the perfect crew, to start on if you're interested in this job. It's, your commitment is limited. You can go on one assignment and you can be like, whoa, this is going to be too much for me. You know, hours may be too long being away from your family and home, for two weeks to sometimes 3 weeks at a time might be too much for some people. And you can say, all right, well, I tried it. I want to do something else. But most people who do this, they really love it, and they come back season after season.
Yeah, that's great. So it's a really fun opportunity to try it before you commit to it.
Exactly, and you'll meet a lot of good people. The camaraderie, living together side by side, working together side by side for 2 to 3 weeks straight. You really have no choice but to become friends with everybody on the crew, and that's the way it usually works out.
I bet. What a great team building experience. And I mean, that's just really rich life experience for any, our students and, are typically starting out their lives as an individual, as an adult. So this is a great experience as far as just finding your direction, learning that sense of independence, having to rely on your team members and being someone that your team member can rely on.
Exactly. Big component of teamwork is a big component here.
Yeah. And then there are, of course, time commitments. And so, as we mentioned, the on-call crews are on call. And that means that crew members got to be packed and ready to go on assignment at any time. When you get the call, then that's when you say, yes, I can, or yes, I can't. And the assignments are typically a 2-week commitment. Sometimes they will go a little bit longer. And if a crew member had a prior commitment and has to turn down the assignment, it will not affect future opportunities. So if you get the call and you're not able to take it, it doesn't mean that you won't get the call next time.
Exactly. We really focus on a work-life balance in this agency, because we know that the time commitment is a lot. Myself being a permanent and all the other permanents, we're pretty much committed to a fire season between May and October, sometimes into November or December. So we really do give people the time off, and we understand that their home life does take precedent over their work life.
And then the reason these positions are on call is because it's at nature's mercy. We can't plan when there's going to be a forest fire or when that help is needed. So that's why it's so important, though, to have qualified individuals that can be on call and to ideally be able to attend or be a part of these 2-week commitments. Are they always 2 weeks, or sometimes they are 3 weeks, right? It depends on.
Typically they're 2 weeks, sometimes not usually with the OC crews, but with travel, depending on where you're traveling to, the travel time is not included in the 2-week work assignment. So
okay, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, you could have maybe 1 or 2 days of travel on either side, depending on where you're going to. And then, they are a national resource, so they will travel all around the West Coast for sure.
Nice. So can I ask what is the farthest that you have traveled with an on-call crew?
So I have been not with an on-call crew, but I've been to pretty much every state in the Western U.S. I've been to Hawaii, Florida, Alaska, Georgia, Texas. So we, being a federal agency, we travel all over the place, and you see a lot of places that you wouldn't see not doing this job for sure.
Yeah, and again, great life experience for a young adult finding their way. So the training in the crew, training is held once at each of the designated locations. Terry is based out of the Upper Lake station. That's the address there. There's also other locations, Willows and Chico. And then I have all this information to send any student that's interested. I can send a flyer that has more locations or more information, but we did just want to show you guys that the ones closest to where we currently are, Terry in Upper Lake is the closest. And so that's right in Upper Lake, and that's going to be on January 11th and 12th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m.
Yep, that'll be the signups, and we have basically two crews, two sets of on-call crews. We have what we call the Willits crew, which is basically on the west side of the forest. So we get a lot of people from Willits, Covelo, Ukiah, and Lake County. And then we have another crew, the Chico OC crew. And, most of those folks are from the Chico, Sacramento area. And so, if you join over here and you're on the Willits crew, you will typically usually go out with, relatively the same people, the people from Willits, and same with the Chico side.
Nice.
Yeah.
We get some consistency there with the crew you're traveling with and spending those 2 weeks at a time with.
Exactly.
So for the training, individuals are provided with a basic 32, which are classes to become an entry-level firefighter type 2. To complete the training, individuals must attend all training dates to receive the certification, and there are no makeup training dates. It's very important that if this is something you want to do, that you're able to attend and participate in the training. And the class schedule is provided upon sign up. Is there anything that you want to add to that, Terry?
No, I think this is a good opportunity. The training is paid, which is kind of a rare opportunity for folks. But the basic 32s that stop by, some of my firefighters and my captains who have a wealth of knowledge, and they have a lot of good stories, and they really get into the material, and you'll learn quite a bit, and it'll give you a good base to start. Yeah. And we do have a field day too that is part of it at the end, where people actually, they put on packs and we give them tools, and we'll go cut line through the forest and simulate fires and simulate drills to kind of give them just a little touch. It's kind of weird when it's raining or wet out, but it kind of gives them just a taste of what it's like to be on the fire line.
No, that's a great experience. And then of course, because everything is at nature's will, once they complete training and get the certificate, then is it just then they're on call, or then
we usually start mobilizing the crews in May or June. If there is some reason to do them sooner, I know the training officer Shiloh will start calling around to see if she can get a crew together, and crew bosses. The crew bosses come from either the forest or other forest people who are qualified at that level to take a crew out. Okay,
great.
Yeah.
So as far as the application process, good news for those of you that don't like, formal applications, there's no physical application. You have to show up on the sign up day, which with Terry is January 11th and 12th, with 2 forms of ID. And so that can include a driver's license, social security card or birth certificate, or a valid US passport will count as both forms. You also need to take FEMA courses online, and bring the certificates to sign up day. Terry, can you speak to the importance of those FEMA courses ahead of time before they show up for the sign up day?
Yeah, it's so to get the qualifications in the fire realm, you have to have a number of different classes, and I-100 and IS-700 are two of the starter courses. So we can't give you an actual card to be certified to fight fire until you have all of the courses. And some of these are online. It just makes it easier, and it makes it quicker for us to get through the coursework instead of doing it all in person.
Of course, that makes sense. So both of those, the I-100 and IS-700, available online, and you need to do that prior to sign up day so that you can bring the certificates showing that you've completed that.
Correct.
Thank you. As far as requirements, applicants must be 18 years old and not an active member of the United States Armed Forces. I imagine that's because it's kind of hard to be on call for more than one place, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, that makes sense. You'll also need to pass the arduous level fitness test, which is known as the PAC test. And that consists of walking 3 miles, carrying a 45-pound pack in less than 45 minutes. So this test is administered on the first day of training, and you have to be able to complete it in order to continue the training and get that final certificate. So the great thing is you guys have this listed up front. So that means that people who are interested, they could start practicing now. weigh out 45 pounds, put it in a backpack, start weighted vest, whatever it is you need to do to get yourself into the physical condition to be able to pass this test. Terry, can I ask you, is that the 3 miles, is that a flat 3 miles? Is it a hilly
Yep.
3 miles? I know 3
It's
miles of
it's
incline is a big difference.
yes, all on flat ground, so
Oh,
it's
good.
consistent around the agency and the country.
Very good to know, because
Yep.
that's a big difference. I know I've climbed some hills with like a 4-pound backpack, and it
Yeah.
felt like a lot more than that. So again, that's something you can plan for and start preparing now.
And I would
Mhm.
I would definitely tell people if they are interested to definitely start working on it. Walking 15-minute miles is pretty easy with no weight on, but you will start to feel it once you start putting weight on.
Yep. And you can work your way up to the 45 pounds. So if
Exactly.
20 pounds feels like a lot now, if you just keep working at it consistently, you can work up to that, or you can easily pass this pack test on January 11th. So Terry did touch on a little bit, and again, we just want to highlight how fantastic it is. There's no cost to join or become a member of the crew. You will need to buy your own boots, which can range from 100 to 500. It's really dependent on the brand that you end up with. And good boots can be some of the most important equipment for a wildland firefighter. Terry, can you tell us what boots you use?
Good boots are pretty much a standard. So I have a couple pairs. I have whites, which are about $500 boots. They look like a logger boot, and then they also have a new boots coming out. They're more like they're called Sportivas, or Loas makes them. They're a little bit shorter, a lot more comfortable, like a hiking boot.
Oh,
and
okay.
both of those are acceptable, as long as they have the 8-inch leather upper and the Vibram soles. But you can't be on the fire line very long with bad boots and with boots that aren't broken in. So that's
so that's a big thing too.
Yeah.
Not only to have the boots, but that they're broken in so that you can use them comfortably.
Yeah.
What's the best way that you would suggest for people to break in their boots?
Just buy them early and just start wearing them. Go on little walks. You don't need to step in water or anything like that with them, but just start using them, before you really need to go a long distance, because people's feet can get really hurt if they're on the line with stiff boots and blisters, and it's not enjoyable at all.
Yeah, well, that's great. That's good to know. And then Terry did talk on the standards for the wildland firefighter boots. So the boots range from $100 to $500 typically, and the requirements are that they need to be all leather, non-steel toe work boots with at least an 8-inch leather upper. And now that's to protect your ankle.
Yes, so that's to protect your foot, your ankle from either hot material or tools too, because you think about it, you are going to be swinging a Pulaski or a shovel all day. Yeah, and they do glance off of rocks. And I have myself personally had cuts in the soles of my boots from an axe handle or from the axe head, and I'm glad that I did have good boots on.
You were so thankful for your boots in that moment.
Yes, exactly.
Sure. And then can you explain, just because not everyone, including myself, knows what a Vibram sole means?
So Vibram sole, I'm not sure if it's a brand, but it's at least a pattern and a brand on the bottom of the sole of the boot, and it'll say right on there, it'll be a yellow little signature that says Vibram sole. And they're hardy enough and they have good enough grip to endure the arduous nature of the work, which is rocks, heat, and to have that grip, because fire lines typically go straight up and down, not like a hiking trail. So when you're walking straight up or down a hill, you need to have that grip to so you're not sliding around.
Of course. Thank you. As far as income and pay rates, Terry did mention, and again, we're going to say that the training is paid for by the agency if the training is completed. So like Terry said, this is not that common that you'll get paid for the training. So, if you can complete the training, which means showing up, not missing any time, participating, passing that pack test, you will be paid for the training time. On assignment pay can range from $19.72 an hour to $21.94 an hour. And you can expect to work 8 to 16-hour shifts. And the assignments can last from a few days up to 3 weeks. When we say up to 3 weeks, that's likely including the additional travel days that can be incorporated. Like Terry was saying, if you're traveling to another area, you factor in travel days, but the assignments themselves are typically 2 weeks at a time. And the availability of assignments vary from year to year because, like we've been saying, on call means if there's a fire. And of course, we would love if there weren't fires, but the reason we have this program and the reason we have wonderful people like Terry as a fire chief is because, as we know, the area we live in, fires are something that we deal with often. And the availability of assignments will vary from year to year. We hope for few, but sometimes there's a lot, and that's why we need qualified people able to answer those calls. Anybody that's interested in signing up for this can email us at careerhub@mendocino.edu, and I'll send you this PDF flyer that has all the information, some links with more things as far as showing up, seeing Terry in Upper Lake. You can follow our Facebook page or our Instagram page for more info. We're always available there. And our website is also up to date. The website will also, by the end of today, have the link to this recording for students that were unable to attend live. No worries, we'll have this available for you to watch at your convenience. And depending on when you're watching this, there may or may not be current openings, but there is always a need. Is that right, Terry?
Correct, yes.
But you guys just do your outreach and your temporary stuff at specific times of the year in correlation to fire season.
Yes. Our temporary fire jobs are going to be opening tomorrow, actually, and they'll be open for a week. And that's the thing you see on the screen right there, and that is different than the on-call program.
Right. So yes. So anyone that wants to email us for this flyer, do you want to speak a little bit specifically to the temporary positions? Yeah,
so every year, so I supervise 6 engines, 4 in Upper Lake, 2 in Covelo, and then I also have a 20-person hotshot crew here in Upper Lake as well. So we do have permanents, but every year we have to hire temporaries to fill out the majority of the crew, and that's where this comes into play, the temporary jobs. So those are just, like it says, seasonal jobs. They usually go from May to, we'll be laying off our temporaries here in a couple of weeks into November. And a good way to get into that is maybe start with the OC training and get the basic 32s done and out of the way. And also, if you are really interested, to give me a call and I can put you in contact with some of my engine captains and the hotshot soup, because we like to chat with people and get some good recruiting done before we do our hiring.
Of course, thank you. And then I am going to share one more contact slide for Shiloh Springstead, who's the Forest Fire Training Officer, and then also Kate Morris. They're available, and then also Terry is willing to share his contact information as well. Did you want to?
Yeah, my phone number is 707-275-1441, and my email is Terry, Terry .Nickerson, Nickerson @usda.gov.
Great, thank you so much. So that would be, so for people to reach out to you would be like people that want to hear from someone that's actively doing it.
Yeah, and if they have questions about the temporary openings, or even if they have questions about the OC openings, they can talk to Shiloh or myself. Perfect.
Well, gosh, thank you for sharing your expertise and your passion for protecting our national forests. Is there anything that we didn't cover that you want to make sure students know about?
Well, I think this is a big, obviously everyone's seen the last few years, though the fire situation in the Western US has gotten really bad, and we are really making a push to try and staff up more and do quite a few more projects. So the need is always there for permanent, temporary and permanent employees in the Forest Service, Park Service, BLM, wherever you may be. So I think this is a really good opportunity for anybody who's interested in outdoor work and basically free travel around the Western U.S. or, like I said, I've been to Alaska or Hawaii.
Hawaii, yeah, that's so cool.
So it's a really good job, and I've been doing it for about 25 years. It's quite enjoyable.
And you still love it. And then something that Terry and I were talking about earlier was the fact that these on-call positions or these temporary positions are great experience to gain that will improve your chances of eventually getting a full-time position.
Correct. If you do come here and you get a temporary job or an on-call job, you'll meet all the permanent employees, and you'll see, hey, I like this job. I want to do this job permanently. And then we're here looking at you, watching you work, and if we can pick you up, if we see your name on the list, then we know what we have, and we want to pick up the best folks as possible.
Of course. So something I always tell students in positions like this is think of every day as a job interview. Like you want to show up, the best way that you can. Again, Terry and I were talking about the importance of being a team member, relying on your team members, as well as being someone that your team can rely on. So if you're showing up with that good work ethic, you're showing up, you're coachable, you're able to learn and also able to lead when you need to. That's going to just improve your chances of one day getting one of those full-time positions where you can travel all the time and work in the forest and do exciting stuff that Terry gets to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Well, if anybody has any questions, they can reach out to myself, Shiloh, Kate, or Terry. We'd all be happy to answer more questions. And with that, we will end this career exploration spotlight. Thank you so much, Terry, for joining.
Thank you for having me.